and weigh out the pros and cons. If the answer that you receive back is something along the lines of, man, I don't know, man, that seems kind of difficult, that is another person telling you why they wouldn't do it, not why you shouldn't do it. Keep that in mind. I guess I got my swagger bag. Welcome to the Legal Hustle. They call me JT Hustle. This is your no nonsense guide to hustling legally and how to get yours. Today, we've got a juicy topic. Obviously stems from our last video, which talked about 3 reasons that you might consider moving to a different position, role, or career overall, right? If you're looking at making a drastic move, check out that video. If you kind of in between, maybe on the fence, and see if any of that sounds like you. Also comment on that video as well. So this is the second portion, talking more about actually how to plan, how to get into the mindset. You've watched the other video, you decided, man, you know what? This isn't for me. I fall into one of these categories and I'm just not finding what I want. I'm not making enough money. I don't really feel purpose and I'm just not really interested. So let's jump right into it. One of the first things that I recommend that you do if you're looking at a different career is start grinding. I look at the camera seriously because this is dead serious business right here. You might see me a little bit more animated, but this is the stuff that excites me. Doing something new, trying a new challenge, getting out there, right? All of which encompasses getting your grind on, get started, start networking, start talking to people, start, even if it's striking up a conversation with a stranger, wherever you go, whatever it is that you're interested in. What I want to make sure that you get out of this video is that nobody is going to come to your door like Amazon and just be, on a tangent where they say, hey man, we're really looking for somebody just like you. I'm so glad you live at this house and I just so happen to knock on it. That does not happen. That will never happen in the history of Nebuary or anywhere in time in the future, right? So that being the case, what you need to do is look at your social circle, right? Who's doing things that you're really interested in? Who have you struck up a or maybe it's not them specifically, maybe it's somebody that they actually know. So think about your interests when you're doing this planning stage and you're really strategically thinking about what is the logical next move for your career, where you want to switch to. It's not a decision that I want you to take lightly, right? You're going to be in any one of a few different demographics. You can either be really young, you could be in the middle of your career, you could be somebody who's already had a career and you've retired and you're looking at the next best thing. Across the board, what you want to do is make sure that you just go at it. And one of the ways that you can go at it is just by getting out there. So find what your interests are. One thing that I want you to think about is what you would do if you didn't have to do anything. Like really ponder that question, right? So if somebody paid you to do whatever it is that you enjoy doing just for free, what would that be? What would that look like? Would it be fishing? Would it be, barbecuing? Would it be whatever that is? Maybe that'll be your jump off point to get you the encouragement because it's something that you're already interested in. Taking that a step further, okay, so maybe if your issue was the fact that you weren't making enough money, and then you look at maybe fishing as something that you're really good at, however, unless you're a tournament winner, maybe there's not a whole lot of money into it, right? So maybe you start strategizing and really planning how you can either create a business out of fishing, or being involved in the fishing world where it's something that you're still passionate about, that you can maximize your income in doing so. If you like to tinker with computers on the side and you're the IT person for your entire family and that's just something that you're interested in, technology, there are a lot of different IT jobs. You're speaking to somebody who's done exactly that, who's been that person, right? I might make a separate video just specific to all of my IT tech people out there, but just in general, right? One takeaway, and one of the reasons why I say that, Tony Robbins has a really, really good quote that I think encompasses that. Expect change. Analyze the landscape, take the opportunities, stop being the chess piece, become the player. It's your move. You have to move. There has to be some sort of action tied to whatever it is that you've come up with as an idea. When that happens, so you're going through the process of thinking about what it is that you want to do, always remember hustlers move in silence. That's one golden rule of hustling, right? So if you're thinking of the next big plan, or you're thinking of what your next career move is, what you don't want to do is have more talk than you actually have action. So when the reason why hustlers move in silence is, number one, somebody could try to bring you down, right? There's something that you could be actually perfect for, that you'd be perfect for. You don't want to let somebody else's negativity weigh down on whatever your decision is to move forward with yourself, right? Don't do that. If there is anybody that you're going to talk to somebody that you absolutely trust. Keep it to 2 or 3 people and weigh out the pros and cons. If the answer that you receive back is something along the lines of, man, I don't know, man, that seems kind of difficult, that is another person telling you why they wouldn't do it, not why you shouldn't do it. Keep that in mind, right? So another quote as well from Gary Vee that I heard recently that really, really stuck to me as it pertains to this topic: people have too much I and not enough A. And what that means is that they have way too many ideas with not enough action. So the best thing that you can do is start doing something, right? So one of the things that you need to do, moving on to the second point, is going to be to plan and to research, right? Like I said, this is not anything that you want to take lightly. So make sure that you actually map out what it is, right? You don't want to end up in the situation where maybe the one that you're currently in, you don't want to repeat the process. So if you jumped into something based on a whim, and you took a chance, and maybe it worked out for a few years, and then you get locked down, and you've come to this channel to find out exactly how to do something about that. Let's do it the right way. If we're gonna redo it, we're gonna learn from those mistakes, and we're gonna also elevate ourselves to be more marketable, to be more attractive out there in the job market. So one of the things that you can do to really find out about yourself, outside of talking to those 2 or 3 people only that you really, really trust, that aren't going to give you that negative feedback, is a personality test. Sounds cliche, sounds corny, sounds like something you would do when you first start a job, and a lot of times that's going to be the case, right? However, what it does do is it tells you about your natural strengths. Why is this important? Because when it comes down to you looking at a different career, what you want to do is play to those strengths, the strengths that you've gained from the previous job that you've had, the strengths that you've gained from being a mother, father, aunt, uncle, whatever the case, brother, sister, whatever the case might be. Do you do things on the weekend? Are you the person that coordinates when you and your friends go out? You might be a excellent person when it comes to event planning, or when it comes to project management. Those are all things that require some of the same skill sets for the things that you would do just for entertainment, that you would do for fun, right? So look at those. I'll leave a few that I personally like in the description below. The second step to that is see step 1. Get out there, start talking to people, find out what people do that might interest you. Somebody has a nice car, somebody just seems happy all the time, somebody's taking a lot of trips, maybe they have better work-life balance that you want to take a part of. Hey man or woman, excuse me, what is it that you do? How do you do it? How do you get into this? Etc., etc. I had a conversation with a young lady about project management. I had no idea the pluses, minuses, etc. while I'm working at a call center job, and she just seemed very, very excited about her job and how much flexibility she had. They paid her very well. She got to live in San Francisco and all these things, and she's from Indiana. And she told me, she says, this is something you should really look into. And that's one of the things that I did. So that was part of my planning your research, and I highly suggest the same for you. Start talking to people and drum up a conversation. Everybody's number one favorite topic is what? Themselves. Everybody likes talking about themselves, and if they seem happy and they seem like a person that's on the up and up, chances are they have a good employment position, whether they own their own business or they work for somebody else and they're hustling that way. Your next career isn't your last. So while I do want you to take precedence in the fact that you should really do research, make sure that you're 100% positive that, hey, this is something I want to put my time and energy into, especially if it's going to take away from your personal items like your family, other hobbies, friends, and things like that. Make sure it's worth your time, right? However, just because you're taking the step doesn't mean it has to be the last step that you ever take. So don't get into analysis paralysis where you've thought about it so much that you don't ever make a move. Back to step 1 in terms of the ideas over action. We want action over ideas all day long. Entry barriers. When it comes to the logistics, which kind of includes both of these, you really have to, pencil down or buckle down and really think about, hey, how possible is this? it's going to be difficult for you to decide that, hey, tomorrow from an insurance accountant, that tomorrow you want to be a doctor, right? There are going to be entry barriers to that, and we have to be realistic about those things. I'm not going to preach to the choir. I'm sure this audience understands, where things are, but my biggest takeaway is I want you to look into those things to find out some of these exciting opportunities, these career opportunities. Some of them don't have a huge entry barrier, basically. For instance, that project management story that I was telling you about. So that was one of the selling points to project management, was the fact that you don't need a whole lot of formal education. Her education was actually in music, and she just so happened to talk to somebody who was in project management, similar conversation to what I had with her, and ended up finding out that it was something that was well needed at a young just starting out kind of startup organization. And she fit the mold. She fit exactly what they were looking for, excited, and was a great organizer, and like I mentioned, enough to where I was interested to find out what she did for a living, right? So look at those entry barriers. The next thing and the last thing, I'll make a separate video about this, but it's going to be the execute portion. So this is where the rubber meets the road. If you really think about the steps that I've laid out, the rubber has already met the road. The next point is just getting to that destination. So you're at the last fill up, and you've only got 3 more miles till you get to Yuma, Arizona, wherever your destination might lead you, right? So what I want you to do is take those actions first. Get out there, network, do your research, find out, make a list if you have to. If you're a spreadsheet kind of person, break down the pros and cons of different careers. And then, like I mentioned, you can boil them down. What I'd really love for everybody to do is go ahead and hit the like button if you like the video, subscribe if you like the content, and also go a step further, share this with a friend, somebody that you know that could find a benefit or a value from the content that you're hearing here today. Also, I want to invite everybody to have an open discussion within the comment section in terms of if you've ever been through a career change yourself, maybe lessons learned, best practices, some additional tools maybe that I wasn't able to cover here today. More than open for that conversation. And then also, if you're considering having a career change, to allow somebody to kind of chime in to provide those best practices, all the more fruitful. We're all hustlers. We're all going for the same goal. We can reach that goal together. All we got to do is stay grinding, baby. There's no shine without the grind. Remember that. JT Hustle out.